So there we were, SmackDown main event, Styles versus Bryan, and all of a sudden there's a ref bump and Bryan low blows AJ. Next thing you know, Bryan hits the knee, he's the champion. After the match, he lays out AJ, he stomps on him, and Daniel Bryan turns heel. Now, we're going to be looking at this, and we're probably going to have a few more ideas about this 1 week, 1 month from now, especially as we get to see where WWE wants to have this head. But if you ask me right now, is this good or is this bad? I'm going to have to take the very polite, politically correct position of telling you that it is both good and bad. Because that's how you keep your subscribers. No, I'm just kidding. It's good because it's fresh. It puts Bryan in a position where he has access to a lot of new feuds because he's been mostly working with the heels. This means right now that he's going to be working with the baby faces, which means a lot of fresh matches. Then, of course, it means Bryan versus AJ is probably going to get a lot of attention. It's probably going to get more than 1 or 2 matches. And you can never go wrong when you put AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan in the ring together. And it's proven by now that Bryan can very well work as a heel. He worked as a heel for a long time in Ring of Honor. He worked as a heel a long time in WWE. Is it as good as him working as the underdog babyface that catapulted him to main event godlike status? Maybe not. Let's wait and see. But he can definitely work both and not have it be a detriment to match quality. Not to mention that, of course, he can just turn face again later. And if WWE is lucky and they play their cards right, it means that we can have him as a heel that has a big connection with the audience. And that's usually the best time to turn someone. This is why it's good. It's mostly because it's fresh and it doesn't stop you from turning him babyface again later. But there's a few reasons why it's bad. It's bad because, and this is my personal feeling, you can tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, it feels like this admission in a way that WWE didn't really capitalize on his return. Even though Bryan was working very, very hard to come back to WWE, considering the reasons why he left and the kind of very specific health reasons why he left, I never really expected WWE to tell him, yes, you can come back. The moment it became clear that he was coming back, I had an immediate flashback to WrestleMania 30. I immediately got this feeling that maybe we won't get to another WrestleMania 30 right away because the smart thing is to have Bryan come in and develop relatively slowly just to make sure that health-wise he is fine. But eventually we're going to go back to that. We're going to be able to duplicate or at least come very close to have him come to that godlike status that he had before he left. That didn't happen. WWE's push was very touch and go, hot and cold. We love Bryan. We think Bryan should go to the mid card. Now we love him again. Now we think he should put over Rusev. It just didn't make sense. It's like WWE themselves were very undecided. Obviously, the fact that Bryan had to resign played a part in that, but you can't really imagine in the height of Stone Cold Steve Austin's reign that WWE would go, we're not sure we want to push him. Let's give him a few losses here and there. Let's have him lose to mid-card guys. Big time pushes don't work that way. You have to protect the guy or gal at all times. And this for me is the big reason why we never came close to duplicating what happened to Bryan the first time, around WrestleMania 30 time. He put over mid-card guys. WWE was very intermittent in their push. On the other hand, it's also bad, it's also negative because, well, it's kind of in the sense that Austin's heel turn at WrestleMania 17 was kind of bad too. Not just because of why his turn was bad, in the sense that you can't turn a guy who's always been a heel that was cheered. You can't really turn him heel. He's a heel already. So he shook hands with Vince. So what? He's always been a heel. It's also bad because I feel that it leaves a gap. I don't think you have someone to put in that position because Bryan was put in the underdog position in a very organic way. And most underdogs like him tend to be mid-card guys that either don't make it to the main event or just have a cup of coffee in the main event. Now you can tell me that's what happened to Bryan, but it happened to Bryan because of injury. We didn't know how long he was going to have that big push. But the big thing here to remember is I don't see who fills this gap. A very accomplished wrestler who is also portrayed as an underdog. Except for situations like us seeing Styles versus Brock, where Styles clearly plays a very good underdog. I just don't see who's going to pick this up. So that's it. On my end, it feels good, but it feels bad as well. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Is this mostly good? Is this mostly bad? Let me know.